Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. So, Tesla just released its proxy for this year, and there is a lot in it, including a new long term performance based award for Elon. Now, I think there are some critical details that many people seem to be missing. But a long story short, Elon finally has the proper incentives in place for his work at Tesla, as long as us shareholders vote for this proposal. So remember, this is not a done deal yet. This will be voted on at the meeting this year on November 6th. As expected, we will also be voting on whether or not Tesla will invest into XAI, which we'll touch on shortly. To start with Elon's new compensation plan, for him to receive the entire award, Elon has to create about $7.5 trillion in value for Tesla shareholders. Plus, this plan includes aspects to retain Elon at Tesla for at least 7.5 years and up to 10 years in order for Elon to fully vest his new incentives and for him to participate in a framework for a long-term CEO succession. The special committee that Tesla formed has worked on this new plan for the past 7 months, and they met with Elon 10 different times to discuss it. During those conversations, they also addressed Elon's prior compensation plan that was earned but still remains unpaid thanks to activist Kathleen McCormick. Now, the special committee from Tesla used a three-pronged approach. There's the 2025 CEO Interim Award, that roughly $30 billion bridge incentive using restricted stock instead of stock options that we covered a few weeks back. There's also a plan to get Elon paid under the 2018 Performance Award using a new special share reserve. We'll come back to this. But for now, it's just in case Elon and Tesla lose the appeal in the Delaware Supreme Court, so it would handle any residual loss that Elon experienced from that outcome. Because remember, the interim award is only about 1/3 of the shares that Elon is entitled to under the full 2018 award. And third, the new incentive-based compensation package is looking to the future. The new award is Proposal 4. And under Texas law, no shareholder vote is actually necessary to approve this, but NASDAQ rules require equity compensation plans be approved by shareholders. And the way this new award is designed gives Elon voting rights with the restricted stock as soon as the shares are earned. But the plan requires Elon to remain at Tesla to vest to get the rest of the economic benefits. So Elon has the opportunity to earn voting rights up to 12% of the adjusted share count. So what you need to know, if Elon does earn all of this new award and he gets the majority of his 2018 award one way or another, Elon's voting control at Tesla would then be around 29%, which would of course satisfy his desire of having at least 25% voting control at Tesla. And remember, there's no double dipping here, so if Elon gets his 2018 pay package approved at the Delaware Supreme Court, he would not also get that interim award, which is what you're looking at here. So this would be Elon earning the entire proposed 12% grant, aka all 12 tranches, which would take Elon's total voting stake in Tesla to 28.8%. And just FYI, for Elon to get over 25%, he would need to earn 8 tranches of this new plan. That would put him at 25.2% voting control. And yes, that would account for dilution under both awards. Now, any vested shares do remain subject to the 5-year holding period that starts when the shares are earned, which just means that Elon cannot turn around and sell these earned Tesla shares right away. He would have to hold them for 5 years. This new plan is structured to drive Tesla's market cap to at least $8.5 trillion by 2035. The total size of this award is over 423 million shares, which represents that 12% of the adjusted share count. But again, for purposes of this video, we don't need to dive into what the adjusted share count is. Just know this new plan would take Elon to that 29% voting control. And just to be clear, right now, Elon holds about 13% of Tesla's voting shares. Then from Elon's 2018 compensation plan, if he does end up getting all of that, that would be roughly an additional 10% of voting control given to Elon, which you would think would take him to 23% voting control, but don't forget, upon Elon exercising those options, new shares would be issued, so you have to account for dilution. So realistically, that would only take him to maybe 20% voting control, and then that new 12% from this new 2025 incentive award, after factoring in dilution, would take Elon to that roughly 29% voting control. There are 12 award tranches of about 35 million shares per tranche, and each one represents 1% of the adjusted share count. And in case you see the number $88 billion being thrown around, just know that's only the fair value of this award, and that's really just for financial reporting and accounting. But the first tranche is a market cap of $2 trillion, which would be a Tesla share price of about $620. And the next 9 tranches each require an additional $500 billion in market cap, up to a $6.5 trillion valuation. Then, the last 2 tranches each require an additional $1 trillion in market cap, meaning the last tranche requires Tesla to hit that $8.5 trillion market cap, which would be a share price of $2,635. These market cap milestones have to be sustained for 6 calendar months and 30 calendar days, and both requirements provide a more robust safeguard against market fluctuations. But these market cap milestones are also paired with operational milestones with flexibility, 4 of which are product related. It's 20 million Tesla vehicles delivered, 10 million active FSD subscriptions, 1 million bots delivered, and 1 million robotaxis in commercial operation. The other 8 are EBITDA milestones, starting at $50 billion of adjusted EBITDA, which for this video we'll just refer to as profitability, and going as high as $400 billion of adjusted EBITDA. To put this into context, Tesla's adjusted EBITDA for all of 2024 was $16.6 billion. So for Tesla to hit $400 billion in EBITDA, that would require growing profits by 24x. And for milestones 6, 7, and 8, Tesla's adjusted EBITDA from any 4 back-to-back quarters has to add up to $400 billion. But for these last 3 milestones, Tesla cannot use the same set of 4 quarters to double count. They need to be non-overlapping, which just means Tesla would have to hit $400 billion of annual profits 3 separate times in 3 different 12-month periods that do not overlap. For more context, the all-time record for the highest adjusted EBITDA over any 12-month period was Saudi Aramco at $334 billion, but they only did that once, and it was back around 2022. That number, however, dwarfs many other companies' records. Apple's record high is $130 billion, Microsoft's highest is $105 billion, Nvidia's highest EBITDA to date is $99 billion. So this $400 billion number would put Tesla as the most profitable company ever based on today's numbers. And doing some math, achieving these EBITDA milestones would mean a CAGR, compound annual growth rate, of 91.6% over 5 years, or 38.4% over 10 years. And these rates are characteristic of higher growth companies, and remember, these growth targets are being applied to a $1 trillion company in Tesla. So, to anyone thinking this pay package is a layup all around for Elon, please think again. Now, I'll grant you the 20 million vehicles delivered should be a layup, as that's cumulative, so Tesla's starting from 8 million vehicles delivered already, meaning Tesla only needs to deliver another 12 million vehicles in 10 years, which really implies no annual growth. But back to the flexibility here, any one of the 12 operational milestones can be matched with any one of the 12 market cap milestones, and any single operational milestone can satisfy the requirements for one tranche to become earned shares. For example, Tesla hitting a $3 trillion market cap can be paired with selling 20 million cars, even if they happen at different times, and the shares will become earned at the latter of those two events. And here's what many are not understanding. There's a deadline for all of this. If any of the market cap or operational milestones are not achieved before the 10th anniversary of this award, all unvested shares will be forfeited. AKA, Elon only has 10 years to make all of this happen, or he loses whatever he doesn't earn. And then even worse for Elon, he could potentially lose some earned shares that remain unvested if he doesn't hit every single milestone by 2035. So this structure is really set up to incentivize full achievement and long-term retention. Even after Elon earns shares for a tranche, they don't become fully his, meaning he can't sell or transfer them freely until they vest. So if a tranche is earned in the first 5 years, sometime before September 3rd, 2030, it vests on the 7.5-year mark, which would be March 2033. If a tranche is earned after 5 years, meaning between 2030 and 2035, those shares would then vest on the full 10-year mark, which would be September 2035. Tesla likely structured it like this for tax purposes, but here's why I'm explaining this. This next part is crazy. If any of the milestones are not achieved in the next 10 years, all unvested shares, including unvested shares that Elon did actually earn, will be forfeited. In plain English, this means if even one milestone across the entire plan is not hit by 2035, then everything that is still unvested gets wiped out, even the parts Elon earned but has not yet vested. So the tranches Elon earns in the first 5 years would likely be safe because those vest at the 7.5-year mark. But any tranches earned after the 5-year mark remain unvested until year 10. So if anything is not achieved by then, those earned but not vested shares could be forfeited along with the unearned awards. Let me try to make this clear with an example. Let's say Elon earns 8 tranches early, before 2030, meaning they vest at 7.5 years and are then Elon's forever. They cannot be clawed back by Tesla. Then Elon ends up earning 2 tranches late, meaning after 2030, and Elon misses 2 tranches altogether. So again, he would earn 8 early, earn 2 late, and then miss 2 altogether. That's 12 total. In that scenario, at year 10, if 2 milestones remain missed, the 2 tranches that he earned late, meaning after 2030, which would be worth about 70 million shares, those would not vest, they would actually forfeit because Elon has milestones that are not met. So effectively, this does a few things. The sooner Elon hits milestones, meaning before the 5-year mark, the safer they will be from forfeiture clauses, which adds a lot of urgency. And this also ensures full completion, meaning very clearly this plan is designed for Elon to achieve everything without any exceptions. So Elon's going to be highly motivated to hit every single milestone. So again, if you're thinking these product milestones are easy, I would push back slightly, but this is part of why. Elon's taking on a huge amount of risk here and agreeing to hitting everything during the next 10 years, because if he doesn't, he stands to lose out on a massive amount of money. This was a nice chart Tesla shared in the proxy, just comparing Elon's 2012 award to 2018 and now to 2025. All 3 had 100% of Elon's compensation at risk. I just wanted to highlight the bottom row, the minimum total shareholder value created at the final market cap milestone. In 2012, it was $40 billion. In 2018, it was $600 billion. And now for 2025, it's $7.5 trillion of shareholder value that Elon has to generate for Tesla shareholders to earn his money. The special committee also put in here the 11th and 12th tranches can only be earned if Elon has also developed a framework for CEO succession in good faith. Now, to be clear, that doesn't mean Elon has to leave the company after the next 10 years. It just means that Elon has to be involved in having something in place if Elon were to want to walk away, or if, God forbid, something were to happen to Elon. Now, I told you we'd come back to touch on the special share reserve mechanics because this is important too. Remember, that interim award, which was about $30 billion and served as a bridge, only covered 1/3 of what Elon is owed under the 2018 award. So Tesla's board needs flexibility with this special share reserve to address the remaining roughly 208 million shares. The way this would work, there would be two pools of shares. A special reserve for Elon and these future Musk awards, as they're calling them. These would be to make Elon whole, and then separately, there would be a general reserve for other employees. There would be about 208 million shares in the special and another 60 million shares in the general, meaning if all of these shares end up issued, 268 million new shares would be issued, diluting ownership in Tesla by roughly 7%. But of course, that would not all happen at once. Just so you know, this is Proposal 3, and if it gets approved, Tesla's board would have the ability to use its business judgment to make these Musk awards in the future without shareholder approval, again, with the goal to eliminate any remaining uncertainty around Elon's previously earned compensation. However, the board does not intend to give Elon more than he earned through these discretionary Musk awards. They're just a mechanism to get Elon what he earned under the 2018 award. Meaning, if Elon and Tesla win the appeal in the Delaware Supreme Court, these Musk awards from the share reserve would not be needed. The other important point to note is that this share reserve is critical to Tesla's ability to attract and retain employees with equity-based compensation. That 2025 CEO interim award that Tesla issued, again, that $30 billion bridge award, consumed a significant portion of the available shares, which is why the board wants to replenish it, because if they don't, it may be depleted as soon as Q1 2026, which would limit Tesla's ability to grant equity awards to its employees. So Tesla is looking to add 60 million shares to the general share reserve, which should give Tesla flexibility to grant those equity awards for about the next 2 years based on the expected burn rate for these awards. And finally, something to note, if the board were to grant Elon a Musk award for the total amount of shares in the special reserve, it could result in an accounting charge of $56 billion based on the stock price as of August 19th this year. So that would of course impact Tesla's financial results, but if things play out that way and they decide to do that, it would be because they think it's justified and would outweigh the risks associated with any prolonged litigation in Delaware. And whether Elon is paid via the 2018 award or through this special share reserve, both events would be dilutive. And I want to be clear, this is not a $1 trillion pay package as everyone is labeling it. All people are doing to get that number is they're being lazy. They're taking 12%, that would be Elon's incremental ownership from this plan, of that $8.5 trillion market cap, which would give you just over $1 trillion. However, this fails to account for two things. One, it does not account for any expected dilution, and two, it does not account for the offset amount mechanism in the proxy, which ultimately subtracts the grant date value of $334 per share upon vesting. All you need to know though, in reality, the net economic value to Elon would likely be somewhere closer to $800 billion, and that's only if Elon achieves every milestone laid out. And further, that $800 billion number would not account for any tax implications, meaning the net to Elon would be significantly less. But hey, On the other side of the coin, if Tesla's generating $400 billion in annual profit and delivering millions of bots and robotaxis, they're not going to stop at just 1 million, and there's an argument to be made a price to earnings ratio of 20 would be too low, depending on what Tesla's actual growth rate is at the time. Remember, an $8.5 trillion market cap with $400 billion in annual profits implies a PE ratio of 21. Companies like Microsoft, Meta, Alphabet have PEs today that hover right around 20. And Tesla has always carried a much higher PE multiple than competitors given the expected future growth. So what's wild to think about is that even if Tesla becomes an $8 to $10 trillion company over the next 10 years, given the TAM of the markets Tesla's pursuing, Tesla could still have significant growth beyond that. And I would add, if you think Tesla won't launch a few new products or services in the next 10 years that we know nothing about right now, I have a bridge to sell you. So clearly, Elon thinks these numbers and milestones are doable, or he would not have agreed to this setup and all of the risk that Elon is assuming here. So again, if approved, this locks Elon into Tesla likely for another decade. And to grossly oversimplify, if someone were to ask you, would Elon deserve roughly $700 billion in economic value for creating nearly $8 trillion in shareholder value, do you think that's a fair trade? For me, it's a resounding yes, because remember, us shareholders are not actually paying Elon anything. This would just be Tesla issuing new shares for Elon that he would be earning. So yes, I'll take a bit of dilution to have the greatest innovator and leader on planet Earth supremely motivated for the next 10 years at the most critical time in Tesla's history. And on Proposal 7, we need to give a major shout out to Tesla Boomer Mama leading the charge and many of the retail shareholders that sent proposals to Tesla. They got those in under the gun, they beat the deadline, so now this year we will be voting on Tesla investing in XAI. But for now, any of the details would be figured out later. Tesla said this investment into XAI would be an amount and form deemed appropriate by the board to capitalize on synergies between the two companies. All they said, Tesla's integration of Grok into its vehicles demonstrates the tangible benefits of collaboration with XAI. As Tesla pivots toward AI-driven tech, including FSD and robotics, a strategic investment in XAI would secure access to advanced AI capabilities, enhance product innovation, and drive shareholder value. This proposal does not prescribe the size or structure of the investment, allowing the board flexibility to act in the best interests of Tesla and its shareholders. In case you're not familiar with a proxy or how this voting goes, all you need to know is right here. Here are all of the Tesla proposals by number for this year, and then how Tesla's board is recommending everyone votes. For example, proposals 2 through 5, the board is recommending a for vote, whereas proposals number 8 and 9, the board is recommending against. And then proposals number 10 through 16, the board is recommending vote against all of them. And you'll see Tesla's board has no recommendation for Proposal 7, which is the vote on investing in XAI, which really should come as no surprise given all of the lack of independence arguments for Tesla's board and Elon and all of his other companies and conflicting interests. It's probably best Tesla's board refrains from pushing this one way or another. So one last call to do whatever you need to do to make sure you can vote your shares if you want to. The meeting is November 6th. And I know not everybody will agree with me on this, but I have no problem saying this is the most consequential vote in Tesla's history. But hey, don't take my word for it. Go to the proxy yourself, go down to page 80, and you'll see pages and pages of Tesla's board laying out considerations associated with not approving this new 2025 performance award. And real quick, I just want to make it clear for me and me only, never financial advice, just me being transparent as somebody who talks to the internet regularly. If Elon were to leave Tesla now or at any point in the next 5 to 10 years, my investment thesis would change 100%. Not that I would instantly sell everything, but depending on the circumstances, I would reassess my position from first principles. And if this new pay award is rejected, which I don't think is likely, but it is possible, the chances of Elon leaving Tesla Tesla, or at the very least, spending more time elsewhere would go up significantly. So you can do with that information what you will. And because I know some of you will love to hear this, the committee said it believed it critical to Tesla to secure Elon's commitment to Tesla and to receive assurances that Elon's involvement with the political sphere would wind down in a timely manner. So what exactly are those specifics? We don't know, but clearly in those conversations between the special committee and Elon, some agreement has been reached that Elon's involvement in the political sphere would be less going forward. And again, there was nothing in the proxy that elaborated on what form these assurances took. Was it just a verbal understanding? Was it written? Are there contracts that were signed? How is this going to be enforced? What does political sphere even mean? How far does that sphere reach? So for now, we have zero metrics, deadlines, or penalties that are mentioned for non-compliance from Elon. So hopefully I answered at least some of the questions you guys had about this new proxy. If you still have questions, please drop them below. I will make some time this weekend to go through them and try to answer at least some. Joe Tetmeyer gave us another update. This new customer direct delivery center in Austin is almost done. It now has the Tesla logo and a fenced off area out front with a small test track for kids. Shifting to robotaxi, I'm sure many of you have heard by now, Elon did say the safety driver is just there for the first few months to be extra safe. Should be no safety driver by the end of the year. And as we suspected on Wednesday, the robotaxi account confirmed safety monitors are only in the driver's seat in Austin for trips that involve highway driving as a self-imposed cautious first step toward expanding to highways. So as we said, this has nothing to do with regulations or losing permits. That was all manufactured nonsense. We now have the robotaxi app available to download for anyone with an iPhone. You Android users are stuck waiting for now. So you can now download the app and join the waiting list to be notified when it's available in your area. And yes, I would take this to mean Tesla has pretty significant plans to expand here in the coming months. And some users are reporting the robotaxi app is also available for download now in Canada. This individual downloaded it from Montreal, Quebec. There have also been multiple reports of dozens of people getting access immediately to the network for those living in the Bay Area and/or Austin. The robotaxi account said expanding access fast. However, shortly after, Sawyer said 10 people I know have just lost access. There's not enough cars, most likely, causing long wait times. On that point, we have Jackson saying basically impossible to book in Austin, unfortunately. It's been this message or high service demand for the past 2 hours. Unable to book ride, timeout waiting for server response, please try again. Mark Anthony shared his experience in Austin. And yes, the robotaxi fare was significantly lower than Lyft or Uber, but the wait time was at 24 minutes compared to a 4-minute wait for Lyft and a 7-minute wait for Uber. And there are plenty more anecdotes like that out there. So my question has been, why doesn't Tesla just hire some extra safety monitors and expand the fleet size in Austin? Tesla would have no problem affording this for a few months financially, so my question is, does it have to do with the remote operations not being ready to handle a bigger fleet? Because honestly, outside of that, I cannot put my finger on what Tesla is doing. Now, some people are saying it's only engineers that can be a safety monitor because they're gathering critical data. And if that's the case, so be it. But my argument is Tesla should not be sending out invites and then revoking them shortly after. I mean, Exhibit A right here, Mark said, hey, robotaxi, this morning I was able to book rides, no problem. Now the app has downgraded me back to the queue and I need a ride home. So all I'm saying here is that Tesla, the company with all of the data, seems to be making some decisions that don't add up. It should be pretty obvious if you keep sending out more invites with a fleet size stuck at between 15 to 20 vehicles, obviously that's going to cause some problems. So if you're not ready to increase the fleet size for whatever reason, all I'm saying, don't send out new invites. And remember, Elon said that Tesla plans to open up service in Austin to the general public this month. So if wait times and availability are already an issue, just handing out a few extra invites, what's going to happen happen if they do actually open it up to all of Austin and anybody can try. The way I see it, either that's not going to happen or Tesla needs to increase the size of the fleet soon this month. Now, as many of us know, Gary Black has made the argument that Tesla faces an uphill battle because customers will not want to download a new app just for the Tesla Robotaxi, which is a big argument why they need to partner with Uber. Well, according to Brett from ARC, today's Tesla Robotaxi app downloads outpaced Uber across all rolling 30-day periods by 40% and bested Waymo's best download day ever by over 6x. I mean, guys, look at this chart, and as we know, most of the people downloading the app cannot actually even use the service yet. So obviously, any argument there'd be any friction for customers downloading a new app for Tesla's Robotaxi are completely out the window, which frankly, they really should have been there in the past. Now, I will grant you, there is a large fan base of Tesla, so a lot of these downloads are from Tesla fans that follow the company closely and skew these numbers. So what will the downloads look like for the general public? I'll grant you that it's a different conversation. But ask yourself, do you really think somebody's not going to take 60 seconds to download one more app to save maybe 50% on a trip in a car that's more luxurious than the alternative offerings that by the end of this year won't have anyone in it? And on the Robotaxi app, it did get another update. You can now see live activity vehicle commands. It'll show ride cancellation notifications when the app is foregrounded, and it now adds license plate to the watch live activity. Additionally, the terms and conditions for Robotaxi rules have changed. You can now bring guests between the ages of 13 and 17 with the consent of their parent or guardian. Such minors cannot ride unaccompanied. You have to be 18 to book a Robotaxi ride alone. Children under 13 are prohibited from riding in a Robotaxi. Riders are prohibited from sitting in the front left seat, aka the driver's seat. And now you can have up to 3 passengers in a Robotaxi. The max weight capacity is 800 pounds, which across 3 people would be an average weight of 266 pounds. So before, any riders under 18 were not allowed, and now ages 13 to 17 are, with some requirements. And before, only 2 passengers were allowed. Now you can have 3. And Ashok just shared the Robotaxi app is the #1 travel app on the top charts for iOS. And replying to that, Elon said, "Guess we need to activate more regions." Tesla's planning to open a European hub in Berlin, of all places, that will focus on materials research as well as vehicle and drivetrain development. Around 130 engineers currently working at Tesla's Grünheide production plant near Berlin will relocate to the new facility initially, with the workforce later expected to grow to around 250. Tesla chose Köpenick after looking at more than 30 potential sites and even considered building the hub from scratch. The location was chosen due to its size, energy capacity, and location between Berlin and Grünheide. They're saying it should be a major opportunity for Berlin and Germany to advance alternative drivetrains and battery tech. You may remember earlier this year, Tesla announced plans to double output at Berlin, expanding logistics and battery capacity. But as we talked about Wednesday, Tesla's sales in Germany have been abysmal so far this year. And yes, of course, Berlin ships Model Ys elsewhere outside of just Germany, but Tesla's now taking roughly 130 engineers from Berlin and moving them to this new R&D facility. Speaking of Berlin, some good news finally coming out of that area. New Teslas now drive themselves off the line at Giga Berlin. They autonomously navigate the factory premises, they stop by the on-site supercharger, and then park in the outbound lot. They're still being plugged into a supercharger by a human, so now doing the same thing that Tesla vehicles are doing in Austin and Fremont. Finally, we got an update from the Transportation Secretary saying that they are advancing autonomous vehicle frameworks with plans to modernize safety standards. NHTSA is launching 3 rulemakings to modernize FMVSS for vehicles with automated driving systems. These changes will deliver on the agency's automated vehicle framework, and they said FMVSS were written for vehicles with human drivers and need to be updated for autonomous vehicles. In June, NHTSA announced plans to streamline part of the exemption process for AVs. Really though, this exemption will just continue to allow manufacturers to sell up to 2,500 vehicles per year that do not fully comply with FMVSS. These updates are are just eliminating redundant requirements that currently force AV manufacturers to seek these temporary exemptions under that Part 555. So it's encouraging that things are at least in motion, but we still have a long way to go to get rid of this state-by-state patchwork. The San Jose Mineta International Airport will be the first commercial airport to welcome Waymo. Waymo has received authorization to operate commercially on airport premises, the first step in Waymo's planned deployment in San Jose. Rollout will happen in stages, beginning with fully autonomous testing with Waymo employees, followed by a commercial launch for the public later this year. SJC is expected to be the first commercial international airport in California and the second in the world to welcome Waymo to its terminals, the first being Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport. And as we covered, operating at terminals as Waymo is doing right now in Phoenix with passengers is a notch under its belt that Tesla does not yet have. So congratulations to Waymo on airport number 2, set to launch with customers later this year. Waymo is also set to begin testing in Denver. They're arriving in the city with some Jaguar I-Paces and some of the Zeekr vehicles. All they said for now, they expect to arrive in Denver this fall to lay the groundwork for a fully autonomous service in the future. And Waymo's also heading to the Pacific Northwest. They're heading to the broader Seattle metropolitan area, but again, no specific timeline has yet been given. Max from Tesla said, "We're now selling superchargers fully managed by Tesla. Our goal is to accelerate charging ubiquity by making the best charging tech available for any business. This to accelerate charging affordability through more supply and competition, and to accelerate installation cost efficiency through more installers and our economies of scale." He said it might not be for everyone as we do not offer customizations to stay focused. This is a simple end-to-end charging solution that works out of the box and that customers and buyers already love. The dependability and magic that superchargers are known for can be purchased for your business. If you want to learn more, it's tesla.com/supercharger-for-business. And speaking of Tesla websites, if you want to learn more about the proxy and the shareholder votes and everything that we have upcoming, Tesla now has a new website. It's votetesla.com with some nice infographics and more information about the upcoming votes. As I said on the community tab last night, I'm working through a bit of something, whether it's a bug or allergies, but either way, I wanted to get through the proxy and clear some things up. That, however, did use up all of my available energy reading through that, and it's why I zipped through everything else today. So thank you for your patience with me this week and today. Tesla stock closed the day at $350.84, up 3.64%, while the NDX was up 0.08%. The volume was 33% above the average. I hope you guys have a safe and wonderful weekend. Please like the video if you did. You can find me on X, linked below, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.